Good morning. With ringing our peace bowl, we affirm our collective hope for peace. We recognize that these lands that we love are the home of the Yavapai people. Please enjoy our gathering music today from Lena. Good morning to everyone here and also on Zoom. Welcome to Granite Peak Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I am Krista Munson, your worship associate today, and we're glad that you're able to join us today on Mother's Day. It's good to be together. If there is anyone here for the first time today, a special welcome to you. Is there anyone in that category who would like to raise their hand? Be recognized.
They're all regulars.
I'll get the poll.
If you are a visitor, we have a gift for you. This is a wonderful pin. Bill wants a pin. Okay, Bill. Yeah. Here we go. Hannah, here you go. Where are you from? Phoenix. Wonderful place. I grew up there. Yeah. Anybody else? Well, welcome to everybody. And be sure to greet each other cordially as though you know, sometimes I say to people, hi, I'm Roger. I'm the interim minister. And they say, yeah, I'm Bill. I've been a member for 30 years. And that's okay. It's good to get to know each other and to be part of a community.
After the service, we hope you will join us for coffee and conversation right here in this room at the back. Our guiding mission here at Granite Peak Unitarian Universalist Congregation is that we are a compassionate spiritual community that celebrates diversity, nurtures the personal and spiritual growth of all ages, shares our gifts, promotes justice for all, and serves the world we live in. With much gratitude to our pianist Lena Hubin, Martin Bramall on AV, Brian Willison as Sunday manager, and all of our Sunday morning volunteers as well. We could not do this without you. Please take a moment to set your phones on worship mode because you do not want to be that one. All members, please stay after the service today for the annual congregational meeting at 11:30 right here in this room. We're voting on the slate of candidates for the board as well as the annual budget. And if you have been a member for 60 days, we need you so that we have a quorum and can take the vote. It should be quick, with the outgoing treasurer Tracy Augustine last week having answered questions on the budget in an informational meeting. Everybody, visitors, friends, and members alike, are invited to stay for a 20-minute coffee hour, and then we'll meet and vote. And anyone is welcome to observe the meeting, of course. Now, Russ has an announcement about the capital campaign.
How's everybody doing today? Yeah, this is kind of brief. On behalf of myself and my co-chair of the capital campaign, Norma Meyer, I would like to thank you for your generous commitments. We have been getting a lot of commitments since the kickoff campaign, and I can still hear the band playing. I have 3 important points to mention here. First of all, the deadline for turning in your commitment card for the capital campaign is the end of May, so the 31st of May, if you could. That's what we would like, because we want to sort of roll this into a total as soon as we can. And then the campaign goes until June the 30th, 2027. So if you're planning how you want to make payments and so on, that's when we would hope that all of your donations are finally in. So, really 2 years out. And then finally, if you want to pay for both the capital campaign and your annual pledge, please use 2 separate checks. We have a dedicated account at the bank for the capital campaign, and it's just easier for us if you get 2. And I would like to thank you for the commitment that you've made or that you intend to make, either one. So thank you very much. And we'll have an update as time goes on, but we're holding off for right now. And it is going well, though. It's going very well. So rest assured, I think we're looking good. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. In your order of service, there is a whole sheet full of announcements. You don't have to read them now, but we do hope you will read them. It has upcoming events, fundraising results, how to volunteer as a Sunday greeter, or for after-service coffee and treats. And it also says what to do if scammers are contacting you in the name of this congregation or minister, asking for money. We don't do that by text or email or phone. Those messages are not from us. Please don't pay people who are asking. In here, I'd like to call your attention to a class about resilience on May 22nd. That's a Thursday. Also, to the chance to buy tomato plants today. There are slicers, sauce tomatoes, and cherry tomato starts organically grown by Karen Denny as a fundraiser for our choir. Mother's Day is the start of the outdoor planting season, and maybe your mom wants some tomatoes. And I know that you do too. Other sources of information on congregational happening include 2 newsletters, the Weekly Peak and the monthly The View, which is available out there in the foyer. Our kids over the age of 5 today are being taught by our Children's Faith Development Coordinator, Sandra Palacios. She is teaching about Mother's Day in both the U.S. and Mexico. There are 3 stories they are reading today: Love You Forever, Is Your Mama a Llama, and Mama, Where Are You From? We begin our service in the Unitarian Universalist tradition of lighting the chalice, and our chalice lighter this morning is Thomas Camargo. We light our chalice with these words: Grace is yours. You are not broken. No one is. The whole of you is welcome here. Every part of you is beautiful. You do not need to do more. nor be more, nor less. You have inherent worth and dignity, nothing to prove. You have inestimable value. You do not need to be perfect, nor even presentable to belong in this circle, where grace meets us all, just where we are. But grace does not leave us as it found us. Come, whoever you are, all the mothers and all the children of mothers. May the light of this chalice shine with the warmth of community and of welcome. Roger.
My colleague Lindsay Bates wrote these words: "Come, let us worship together. Let us open our minds to the challenge of reason. Open our hearts to the healing of love. Open our lives to the call of conscience. Open our souls to the comfort of joy. Astonished by the miracle of life, grateful for the gift of fellowship, confident in the power of living faith, we are here gathered. Come, let us worship together." And I invite you to turn to our opening hymn, Morning Has Broken, number 38 in the hymnal, and stand as you're able to do so, and we'll sing together.
Morning has broken like the first morning. One word has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet mornings will fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the red garden, sprung in completeness, where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Well, welcome to everyone, and let's turn in our order of service to the covenant and say it together in unison. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant together.
Now is the time for our offering, and your generosity not only supports this congregation and its programs, the connection and community that we share here, we also donate to the greater community through the Seeds of Support program. You may, this month's recipient of Seeds of Support is our own Granite Peak Food Pantry. You may read about the pantry in the order of service on the back. Each Sunday, half of the cash contributions is given to a local organization helping others. And if you wish your check to go to Seeds of Support, to the food pantry this month, you must designate that on the memo line, on the check, if you want all of it, going to the pantry. Otherwise, the entire check goes to Granite Peak. To contribute online, please visit our website, prescottuu.org. And now the offertory, I believe in you. We appreciate the generosity of spirit expressed through this offering. What is given in love is received in gratitude. Our beloved community is the heart of Granite Peak Unitarian Universalist Congregation, and if there is something on your heart, an event which moves you to joy, sorrow, or concern, hope, or gratitude, I invite you to come forward in the spirit of meditation to drop a pebble into our communal water. Let the ripples spread through the congregation as we take a few moments for meditation, acknowledging the joys and concerns of our hearts and minds. May our joys and concerns be surrounded by the healing intentions and heart of our beloved community. And now please join me in singing Spirit of Life, hymn number 123. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart of the stirrings of compassion. Oh, in the wind, rise in the sea.
My colleague, Polly Leland Mayer, wrote this prayer, Mother's Day prayer. Polly wrote, as we pause this hour, as we focus these few moments, may we find cessation of whatever personal turmoil we may be in. May we seek forgiveness for harsh words uttered or healing words left unsaid. May we find acceptance of those we may not understand. And as the spring becomes more glorious with each passing day, may we be aware of each and every miracle around us and be glad. On this day, when our culture promotes us to remember those who gave us life and nurtured our early years, let us give deep thanks for each person, female or male, family or friend, teacher, who loved and guided us to be who we are today. Help us find ways to express that love in words and in the ongoing integrity of our lives. And let us be friends and supporters to each other in this uncertain venture that is our shared life together. Bring us together again and again in grateful praise, that our lives may be strengthened and enriched. Amen.
And now we have some music, some special music from Lena.
If you know the words, you can sing along. All right, a preface to this sermon. I am fine. I've had a really good week. There's nothing wrong in my life. However, I am 74 years old, and for some of us, when we get older, we have more difficulty controlling a tendency to cry. And not everybody, but some of us have this. And when I practiced my sermon this morning, I found myself crying. Now, often what I do when that happens is I just cross out those parts that make me cry. But as I started to do that, I realized it was going to be a very short sermon. Don't worry about me. If I get to a place where I'm having trouble, I'm going to pause, take a deep breath, and then I'll start again. But there's nothing wrong with me, okay? I'm just old. The first time I saw Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood on television, I was 17. I was not impressed. It was black and white, a children's TV show with a simple stage set, cheap puppets, and tuneless songs. The pace was so slow that my initial reaction was boredom, followed by irritation. I was 17, and then I felt a desire just to admit a primal scream. Ah! It was 1968 when his program went national. The year of the Tet Offensive in Vietnam. Some of you may have been in Vietnam at that time, I know. The assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, race riots in our major cities, the assassination of Robert Kennedy, the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia, the beating of peace demonstrators in Chicago, and the election of Richard Nixon. It was enough to make a 17-year-old believe in the doctrine of original sin. The excessive, sweet sincerity of Fred Rogers, with his Pollyanna smile, made me want to say to the television, "Fred, you are totally irrelevant to what is happening in the world." Well, as I went off to college, I didn't have a television, and I didn't have one in graduate school or in my first 3 years as a minister, so I wasn't watching Mr. Rogers for about 15 years. I was aware that there were parodies of him done by Johnny Carson, Robin Williams, and a famous one by Eddie Murphy. But then I became a father. One day, I was at home with my first child. We turned on the television, and there was Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Slowly, I started to see the program not from the eyes of a cynical adult, but from the eyes of a 3-year-old child. It was the moment of my conversion. My son was sitting in my lap with his eyes on the television, completely absorbed in the program. This guy in tennis shoes, who I had found irrelevant, knew how to speak to my 3-year-old son. By the time my first child was 5 years old, he had lost interest in Mr. Rogers. Still, I observed the same attraction to the program in my other 2 children. By the time my daughter lost interest in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, I had watched the little man from Pittsburgh off and on for 9 years, and I had become a loyal follower. He was born in Latrobe, a small industrial town in western Pennsylvania, which is also the home of Arnold Palmer and Rolling Rock beer. His father was president of the McFeely Brick Company. As a child, Fred was a lonely, sickly boy. He started playing piano at the age of 5. He was an only child until he turned 11 when his parents adopted a baby girl. His mother doted on Fred, fearing always for his safety. He was not allowed to play outside by himself. When he was 10, she tried to cure him of his hay fever by providing him with an air-conditioned room where he spent an entire summer, day and night. Each winter, he spent 3 months in Florida, which made it difficult for him to maintain childhood friendships back in Pennsylvania. The boy found strength in playing with puppets, playing piano music, and from his relationship with his grandfather. He said, "I remember one day my grandmother and my mother were telling me to get down or not to climb on a stone wall. And my grandfather said, 'Let that kid climb the wall. He's got to learn to do things for himself.'" I heard that. I will never forget that. What a support he was. He knew there was something more important than scratches and broken bones. I climbed that wall, and then I ran on it. I will never forget that day. After he graduated from high school, he enrolled at Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida, where he majored in music composition. He planned to be a musician or a minister or both. In 1951, his senior year of college, he was accepted in Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. Home for Easter vacation, he saw a television for the first time, 1951. I just hated it. I looked at these people on television throwing pies into each other's faces, and I thought, I'm going to go into television. And everyone was so flabbergasted because literally I was supposed to start in the seminary in September. He was hired by NBC in New York, where he worked as the network floor director on the Kate Smith Hour. He moved back to Pittsburgh, where he took a job with the nation's first community-supported public television station. For the next 10 years, he worked in public television, and he began his studies at Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. His education included training in child psychology at the center founded by Benjamin Spock and Eric Erickson. When Fred Rogers was ordained a Presbyterian minister in 1963, he was given the charge of ministering to children through television. The program began as a local broadcast in Pittsburgh. Then in 1967, Sears Roebuck Foundation agreed to fund the program nationally. Fred Rogers' goal was to encourage children to be honest with themselves and with each other, and to grow in the conviction that each one of us is a unique and precious part of this world. Eventually, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was broadcast on 290 stations and was watched by more than 8 million people a week. It became the longest-running children's show on public television. Now, as I said, for many years the show's success was a mystery to me. As the nation traveled from Vietnam to Watergate, to the invention of the personal computer, to CNN and MTV, to me, Mr. Rogers seemed out of step with the times. But then I had children, and I started to understand the attraction. Looking into the TV camera, Fred Rogers pretended that he was talking to just one person. He learned this approach in the early days of television when he worked as a floor manager for the cowboy actor Gabby Hayes. He asked Hayes how he felt about talking to a huge audience of children. Hayes replied that he only spoke to one little buckaroo. This one-on-one philosophy is key to the intimacy that Fred Rogers developed to a high art. He treated each boy, each girl to a one-on-one affirmation of their self-worth, telling them that they are a unique and valuable and worthy of recognition. So in a busy, violent, noisy culture, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was a slow program. He spoke softly. He paused between words. Like a loving parent, he created an atmosphere of trust in a simple home in a pleasant neighborhood. With the aid of songs and stories and puppets, he captured children's attention and encouraged them to have courage to grow. He understood a child's natural curiosity. Feeding his goldfish, that caused him to think out loud about mouths and how we use our mouths to eat and to whistle and to talk. And this led him to remark about how wonderful it is that we can speak with our mouths. He freely expressed deep feelings, from the anxiety that comes with the first day of school, to the death of a pet, the trauma of divorce, even global conflict. Mr. Rogers explored feelings without embarrassment. And here's where I cried when I practiced this. He sang, "Sometimes you feel like holding your pillow all night long. Sometimes you hug your teddy bear tightly. He's old, but he's still strong. And sometimes you want to snuggle up closely with your own mom and dad. At night, you even need the light sometimes, but that's not bad. Please don't think it's funny when you want an extra kiss. There are lots and lots of people who sometimes feel like this. Please don't think it's funny when you want the ones you miss. There are lots and lots of people who sometimes feel like this." Now, according to one study, on average, children spend 5 hours a day watching or using screens. A few years ago, a study was conducted aimed at trying to discover what effect this might have on our own children. One group at the Pennsylvania State University Nursery School were shown violent cartoons such as Batman and Superman each day for 4 weeks, a group of children in the nursery school. Another group of children in the nursery school were shown Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood each day for 4 weeks. Then the television shows were stopped and the children's behavior was observed for 2 weeks. And the results were what you would expect. In the group of children who were shown the violent cartoons, there was a sharp decline in patience, as well as a decline in acceptance of the ordinary rules of the nursery school. On the other hand, the children who saw Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood showed increased persistence in the amount of time they spent concentrating on projects. They had more time concentrating on projects. They had a greater ability to carry out responsibilities without adult intervention in tasks like helping with cleanup, and greater patience waiting to take their turn to be served at juice time. They showed increased cooperation, increased ability to express feelings, and increased sympathy and help for others. Now, researchers say an adult who ridicules others may have been raised in an environment where shaming behaviors were modeled, which can lead to similar patterns in their own behavior as adults. Such experiences can affect their ability to form healthy relationships and may indicate unresolved issues from their childhood. I see this in our current society, the tendency to ridicule others. Certain programs remain in my mind as Mr. Rogers classics. You know, I watched that trip to the crayon factory 3 times. The trip to the post office, and the trip to the dairy with each of my 3 children. We all learned how to mix wax to make crayons and how to squeeze a teat to get milk. And I remember the time a few years ago when he had as his guest the cellist Yo-Yo Ma. Ma played music composed by Bach for cello. Now, I don't know how big a role TV played in my oldest son's interest in the cello, but I do not underestimate the influence of Fred Rogers. This same son is now a music teacher. In reading about Mr. Rogers, I was fascinated to discover a little bit about his private life. He awoke each day at 5 a.m. and went swimming in the nude at 6 a.m. He weighed himself precisely at 143 pounds after the swim. When working on television programs, he would spend several hours writing the script himself. He wrote them all himself. Next, he would conduct business in his office at Family Communications. He did not go out at night. He did not watch television. He was a strict vegetarian, saying, "I don't want to eat anything that has a mother." He did not drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes. He read constantly, and he was in bed by 9:30 each night. He never served in the military and identified as a pacifist. Fred Rogers and his wife Joanne and their 2 sons spent summers in a small house on Nantucket Island. They believed in recycling, so they furnished the house with items they picked up in thrift shops. On Nantucket, Mr. Rogers spent long hours reading and playing the piano and going to the pool every day. One of his hobbies was taking pictures. When he was in a picture-taking mood, he would take a little camera with him, film camera before digital, and he would take pictures of the people he met and then write down their name and address. About 2 weeks later, after he had developed the pictures, he would send them to the people that he had taken the photo out with a little note. It would say something like, "I like this one a lot," or "You look surprised here." Now, the card he sent with the photos was never written on or signed. He would put his message on a yellow Post-it note and affix that to the card so that the recipient could recycle the card, use it again. The last new Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood television show was broadcast in August of 2001. Fred Rogers died in February of 2003 at the age of 74 from stomach cancer. Today, his programs survive on the World Wide Web. One of his sweaters hangs in the Smithsonian. On the occasion of his retirement, he said, "I got into television because I hated it. I thought there was some way of using this fabulous instrument to be of nurture to those who would watch and listen." So on Mother's Day, we have mothers and fathers in our congregation, with each day thinking about and caring for their children whatever age those children happen to be. The ability to say Fred Rogers' trademark message, "I like you just the way you are," is one key to successful parenting. The phrase is a direct quote that Fred Rogers took from his grandfather. And this again breaks me up. Let me see if I can get through it. He wrote, "I think it was when I was leaving one time to go home after our time together that my grandfather said to me, you know, you make this day a really special day just by being yourself. There's only one person in the world like you, and I happen to like you just the way you are." I invite you to stand and join with me in singing Simple Gifts. Number 16.
Tis a gift to be free, tis a gift to come where we ought to be. When we find ourselves in a place just right, we'll be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. My colleague Fred Giles, an excellent minister from Rhode Island, wrote these words: "May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, may that love be in us and among us now and always." And I invite you to join with me in saying the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.